What is up, guys? In today's video, we'll be talking about multiple days of severe weather, dangerous flash flooding, and a massive prolonged heat wave that's going to be occurring for a long time. Let's get right into this video. Alrighty, guys, so the first thing we're going to be talking about in today's video is a slight risk of severe storms that we do in effect, ranging all the way from Nebraska all the way over to South Dakota, portions of extreme north, western Iowa, and portions of south central Minnesota regions, and portions of northern Wisconsin, and basically all of the northern peninsula of Michigan areas here under the severe weather risk, ranging across Norfolk, Sioux City, Sioux Falls, Grand Island, Minneapolis, the Twin Cities here, Rhinelander, Wausau, Eau Claire, all the way over to Sault Ste. Marie and Houghton and Sister Bay areas, all under the severe weather risk, and Marquette. If you are in these areas, you are under a slight risk of severe weather today, the main threats being wind damage across these areas, and then another risk of severe weather with a slight risk of severe storms across Gillette, Rapid City, Spearfish, and Wright, as supercells are already developing that are going to pose a risk for hail damage today, so be ready for that in those areas. And then the main threat for these storms over here will mainly be a wind damage risk in the late afternoon to early evening, maybe even all the way to the nighttime hours, especially in Wisconsin and the UP of Michigan and portions of Minnesota. These storms will start to form a line of storms across 7 p.m., and we could get some isolated supercells across portions of Wisconsin and Minnesota, which is why we do have a 5% chance of tornadoes across portions of Eau Claire, all the way over to Rhinelander, Bloomer, Eagle River, Hayward, Spooner areas, really close to the Twin Cities here, and then a 2% chance of tornadoes across Wausau, the Twin Cities, Sioux Falls areas, as some isolated supercells could form behind the line of storms and produce some isolated tornadoes. So this is not a huge tornado threat, but definitely be weather aware, especially in the brown area and kind of in the green area too there for Escanaba and Marquette areas too under that. Stay safe, guys. Now, for the timing of the storms across Minnesota and Wisconsin that could potentially be tornadic later this evening, we are seeing a lot of morning convection currently moving through portions of the Twin Cities area and portions of northern Wisconsin, but that will roll through and kind of just move out over the next few hours or so. And then the instability is going to really surge in here over the next few hours, especially across portions of northern Wisconsin where the bullseye tornadoes could be just right around those areas, across portions of Minnesota and central to northern Wisconsin regions. This is due to a big surge in instability that's going to roll through during peak heating here around 4 to 5 p.m. And we could see some supercells start to roll through portions of central Wisconsin. And these will pose a risk for tornadoes. If we look at the updraft helicities, we're going to see a lot of helicity tracks right there showing rotating thunderstorms over these areas. And the significant tornado parameters are definitely up there here across these areas. And that's why we are watching for some isolated tornado potential. I do think we could definitely potentially see a few tornadoes or so, especially across these areas right here. And then right after that, around 7 to 8 p.m., after this little supercellular thing rolls through, a big complex of wind damage is going to kind of form across portions of northern Iowa, the Twin Cities, and the portions of northern Wisconsin. It might either hit the Twin Cities or just form right south of them. But whatever occurs here, it's going to really impact these areas and with some big time wind damage. If we kind of get into a more zoomed out view with this one here, we have a big line of storms all the way from Nebraska, Iowa, all the way over to Minnesota, Wisconsin areas that are going to pose a risk for wind damage tonight. So definitely be weather aware for that, as some damaging winds could be possible. This would be all the way from 8, 9, 10 p.m., even all the way to the midnight hours potentially, where these storms could pose a risk for wind damage. And then some isolated hail could be possible here across portions of Wyoming near Rapid City from now all the way through the evening hours across those areas. Now, for the flooding risk today, we do have a slight risk of flash flooding, which means a 15 to 40% chance of flash flooding within 25 miles of a point. And this is across portions of Sioux City, Sioux Falls, all the way over to Minneapolis, Green Bay, Escanaba, Houghton, and St. Cloud areas, and Duluth here across portions of Minnesota, South Dakota, Nebraska, extreme northwestern Iowa, and portions of central and northern Wisconsin regions, and basically the entire UP of Michigan here today. We could see some training of thunderstorms over the same areas, especially towards the late afternoon to evening hours, more associated with these storms down over here. And they could train over the same areas over and over again and cause some isolated to dangerous flash flooding across these areas, as we could see some training of thunderstorms leading to a lot of rainfall across these regions over the next few days or so. Now, for day 2's flash flooding threat, we do have a slight risk of flash flooding, which ranges across Wichita, Topeka, Kansas City, Manhattan, Quincy, all the way over to Chicago, Madison, Milwaukee, and Des Moines areas. Now, there is a potential for areas south down here to get rainfall, like St. Louis, Indianapolis areas, but most of the models are thinking that most of the rainfall is really just going to be the heaviest rainfall, at least, is really just going to be associated across these regions right here in this area, really right north. The bullseye being right north of Kansas City into Topeka, Burlington, Davenport, Chicago, Cedar Rapids regions across this flash flooding threat, which would be tomorrow on the 24th of July on Thursday. Here across portions of Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, Illinois, and northern Missouri regions. So if you're in those areas, be definitely prepared, as we could see some flash flooding tomorrow, as training of thunderstorms of the same area could occur with these storms. And on day 3, this continues in another similar location here, which would be on the 25th of July on a Friday, which more is a little bit further to the north, but includes portions of Des Moines, Davenport, Chicago, Indianapolis, Fort Wayne areas, across portions of central and southern Iowa, extreme northern Missouri, northern Illinois, and portions of central and northern Indiana regions under the slight risk of flash flooding that we do have. So definitely be well aware for this, as some training of storms could occur and lead to some flash flooding across these areas too on day 3. Now, for that flash flooding risk on Thursday and Friday across portions of northern Missouri into northern Illinois, Indiana, and portions of Kansas, it's actually looking like this is the national blend of models, which basically blends in how much rainfall we're going to get and blends in all the different models to get the best, most accurate depiction of how much rain we are going to get across these regions. Now, this is really showing that we could get some rain mainly in across the late evening hours across portions of Kansas, Missouri, with the bullseye being in Kansas City areas and portions of central and eastern Kansas and portions of southern Iowa regions across that area. But then it looks like the main axis of rain will mostly be in the morning to afternoon hours across on Saturday or on Friday time frame here across portions of Illinois, Missouri, Kansas, Iowa, and Indiana regions, maybe even getting into the nighttime hours on Friday in portions of Illinois and Indiana, where we do have a bullseye of 2, 3, maybe even 4 inches of rain in some spots across these areas where training of thunderstorms could occur. Now, this is a pretty big range with 1 to 2, maybe even 3 inches of rain. I do think some spots could see 4 to 5 inches of rain or so across that area where the most training of thunderstorms does occur. So Thursday and Friday, be well aware in these areas, as some dangerous flash flooding could occur across northern Missouri, Iowa, and Illinois. Same thing with the storms today across Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, the UP of Michigan regions, as some heavy rainfall is also possible there. Now, this extreme heat wave is basically never ending across portions of the central and southern U.S. regions, with the bullseye of the extreme temperatures being in these regions across Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, Illinois, Kentucky, Kansas, Tennessee, I said Tennessee twice, and Alabama regions across portions of these areas. And this is going to be never ending, with this continuing all the way even through Thursday. If you do see those really dark colors and those kind of pinkish, reddish looking colors right there, that means temperatures basically above 100 degrees. Now, this is the heat index, which basically combines the temperature and the dew points together. It's basically the humidity in the air. So this is not the normal temperature, but what it actually feels like outside. And we're going to be seeing temperatures above 100 degrees for days and days and days, with the bullseye being especially across portions of Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, and Missouri, especially near St. Louis, Memphis, Tennessee, Jackson, Mississippi, Shreveport areas, portions of Arkansas, Chicago areas, all under this. This is going to continue for days and days and days, really prolonged across these areas, even through Friday. Even Saturday and Sunday areas, this is just going to be continuing over and again, all the way through Monday, with extreme heat occurring, even Tuesday, guys. And this is going to finally start to end probably around Wednesday or Thursday, where those temperatures will start to calm down and push a little bit further to the south. But really, from now all the way through Wednesday of next week, really be prepared, as 100-degree temperatures are going to occur for days and days and days, especially across Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, Texas, Arkansas, and Oklahoma areas, and Kansas, as just really hot weather is going to occur across these areas. So definitely be drinking fluids and do not stay outdoors for too long. I'm experiencing it in my area, and it's not fun out here. You're outside for 15 minutes and you're like already getting heat exhaustion, basically. So it's not fun out there, man. And just the heat can be really dangerous and maybe even deadly. So really be prepared there, and don't be outdoors for too long, and make sure to drink plenty of fluids. Alright guys, hope you guys did enjoy today's video. We are going to be seeing a lot of severe weather, especially more focused across the upper Midwest, Minnesota, Wisconsin, today and tomorrow across those regions, and a risk of flash flooding today, tomorrow, and even Friday areas across portions of Iowa, Illinois, Missouri, and portions of Indiana, Kansas, Nebraska, Wisconsin, and Minnesota areas, mainly across the Midwestern portion of the U.S., and then that monstrous dangerous heat wave that's going to be prolonged for the next week or so across the central and southern U.S., especially across portions of the Midwest, southern U.S., basically really confined to the central U.S., especially across those areas. Really be prepared for that. Hope you guys like today's video. Make sure to like and subscribe to my channel if you're prepared when the next weather strikes.